Gaza is quiet tonight. Too quiet. The kind of silence that does not mean peace, it means something is about to happen. And right in the middle of that silence lands the most talked about man in Washington right now, United States Vice President JD Vance. His message, peace through power. His mission to make Trump's Gaza Peace Plan a reality. But let's be honest, in this part of the world, every peace plan usually ends where the next war begins. JD Vance arrived yesterday in Israel as part of the Trump administration's push to save the fragile ceasefire, which is just 13 days old and is already cracking at the edges. The past weekend saw explosions, exchanges of fire, and threats that nearly tore the troops apart. JD Vance is carrying Trump's 20-point plan, the boldest attempt yet to reshape Gaza's future. It calls for an interim international administration to run Gaza, a multinational stabilization force to maintain order, a phased withdrawal of Israeli troops, but above all, the total disarmament of Hamas. Sounds like a plan straight from a Hollywood negotiation table. But this is not a movie. This is Gaza, and Israel is not buying it. Not yet. Netanyahu's government has made one thing very clear. There will be no talks, no transition, and no trust until Hamas returns the bodies of Israeli hostages still buried somewhere in Gaza's ruins. And that is the emotional, political, and moral weight hanging over this so-called truce. Vance, on his part, came armed with both threats and promises. He warned that Hamas would be obliterated if it refuses to lay down arms, but hinted that its fighters could live if they surrendered. A stick and a handshake, classic Trump-style diplomacy. He also said Israel alone would decide whether to allow foreign troops into Gaza, though Turkey, interestingly, might play a role in stabilization. Imagine that. Turkish soldiers patrolling Gaza while Israel steps back. That is not just a tactical shift, it is a geopolitical earthquake. But here is the truth the world does not like to admit. The ceasefire may be holding on paper, but on the ground, it is bleeding. Hamas still controls parts of northern Gaza. Militants still fire sporadic rockets, and over 70% of Gaza's homes are gone. The hospitals are barely alive, and aid convoys are crawling through rubble while Egypt and Qatar beg both sides not to fire the next shot. This is not peace, this is paralysis disguised as progress. And yet the Trump administration insists that this is the path forward. A peace enforced by pressure, not persuasion. But the message from Washington is clear. Disarm or disappear. But can you really force peace in a land built on vengeance? That is the question haunting everyone tonight. What if Hamas refuses to disarm? Will Israel tolerate international troops on its border? Will Trump risk a full-scale operation to enforce his plan? Or will this ceasefire simply become another dusty page in the long, tragic book of Gaza's history? A deal that everyone signed and no one believed. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Peace is not dying in Gaza, it is already dead. What remains is theater. Ceasefires, envoys, photo ops, and statements. The guns go quiet, the cameras flash, and the world pretends it worked. Until the next airstrike reminds us that it did not. So tonight, as JD Vance walks the corridors of Jerusalem, shaking hands and making promises, the real battle is not on the border. It is for belief, for the idea that maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. But if history has taught us anything, it's this. In Gaza, hope is the first thing that rises, but is also the first thing that burns.